Hi all, good afternoon, good day. I'm Mohammed Atiq. Let me begin the webinar. Let me give a quick introduction about myself. I represent AmDhan Consulting. I primarily, lead the business development efforts at AmDhan, incubating business opportunities across several geographies. I'm really glad that all of you could join today for today's webinar. Thank you so much for, squeezing time out of your calendar and joining this webinar. There are people from various parts of the globe. I presume they should be joining, but we would continue with our presentation. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to be a part of this webinar in close collaboration with SAP. It's a fantastic opportunity to get insights from global leaders. Basically, the agenda of the day and the topic is how to improve annual spend on your material and services, and how to leverage the functional capabilities of Ariba sourcing. With that, I would just like to give a brief introduction about the panelists and the speakers we have for today. We have quite an interesting lineup of speakers from distinguished and diverse backgrounds. So my first speaker for today is Mr. Rajiv Sinha. Just a brief background about Mr. Rajiv Sinha. He's a senior global IT transformation leader with significant experience in multifaceted industries. He has championed several implementation projects, and he has also helped various entities to stay ahead in terms of digital adaptation and gain a comparative advantage. So I welcome you, Mr. Rajiv Sinha, and I invite you to deliver your keynote, and we look forward to your enlightening insights. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start sharing my screen, please. Is it visible now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So let me start off. So good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending upon which region you are attending. Let me first express my deep gratitude to all the attendees here. It gives me an opportunity to speak about a topic which is very close to my heart. The topic is proactive supply chain, how to build profit and purpose in procurement. Procurement is a very big function in any organization. And many organizations, particularly manufacturing, the procurement cost actually can vary from 60 to 80%, and a small improvement in that can add a large value to your bottom line. Hence, the biggest focus for today is how to make this function extremely efficient and agile. Let's look at what's happening around us. The most important event in this century had been the COVID. It disrupted our supply chain, brought economy to a grinding halt. 2 years back, you remember when we are all locked down into our home, the entire supply chain got disrupted, right from raw material till consumer. Every nodes in the supply chain was coming to a grinding halt, whether it is logistics, plants, retail stores, market, everywhere. And even if that is one odd big disruption that happened, we have been seeing the disruption due to various geopolitical situations. And one of the biggest issues that we know of the recent times is the acrimony between China and USA. We also had our own problem with China. And China being a big exporters and importers in the entire global supply chain, any changes to that creates a disruptions and rippling effect across the globe, and we are not delinked from that. You will suddenly find, the price is going up or the supply is coming down, and you had no reason why you should be impacted for that, but it's right happening with elsewhere else. Still, you are getting impacted. As if that was not enough, we started seeing a lot of geopolitical conflicts. Recent had been Ukraine war. All of us know how it has disrupted the supply chain so badly. The food cost the raw material cost, the energy cost went skyrocketing, creating inflation all around the globe. And this is not one odd thing now. We have been seeing, we saw our own war with Pakistan, then we had Gulf War, then we had those Central Asia wars. It's going on, and recently there was a flashpoint in Taiwan. So this kind of disruptions are becoming now rule rather than exceptions. So what happens? Supply chain is the first casualty in any geopolitical disruptions. Restricted mobility has caused supply chain disruptions, an increase in bottlenecks, and extensive adverse impacts on the marketplace. Consumer products, retail industries, and discrete industries are the first one to be harmed on this. No matter all other industries also getting impacted during COVID, like, hospitality, entertainment, all. But any disruptions, mostly this discrete industries and retail and consumer, they get impacted. Manufacturers and suppliers, they experience shortages. In fact, recently BMW closed a plant because semiconductors were not available. Entire semiconductors comes from Taiwan and China, unfortunately. And any disruptions there, the global supply get affected. Now, COVID 2020 is over. We are supposed to get back into normalcy, but yet, the supply side is so disrupted, the demand is not fulfilled. In fact, in India, automotive demand is behind 3 years back. That means you can see that the growth is zero for last 3 years, kind of thing. That's the kind of impact these disruptions are creating. Hence, a reliable digital collaborative platform is a must. Without that, you cannot handle such kind of disruptions that is coming. So in the eye of the storm is this disruption epitomized by COVID. COVID almost brought us into a grinding halt. But there is always a silver line around the dark cloud. What we saw in COVID was resilience. The communities, investors, consumers, governments, they all came together to see at least the life goes on. The essentials are coming to our home, even though we are locked in our houses. How did that happen? That is where the ingenuity, innovations comes into the picture. We saw the maximum digital adoption happening during COVID. So what does it show? The digitization is a panacea and answers to a lot of such disruptions that has become a rule now. So supply chain which gets impacted with such disruptions and rapid disruptions. The COVID, there's a report, 94% of Fortune 1000 companies got impacted, almost 100%. The kind of entire globe got impacted with this. 75% are negative impacts. Maybe 25% did not get the impact, or they had a different business model which survived. 55% have downgraded their next 2 years of outlook. So in such a situation, what matters is how efficient, how good you are in your decision making and in your responsibility and your ability to be resilient. So let me bring the perspective of supply chain challenges, having spoken about the background. One is supply chain lacks global resilience today, and it breaks down in the face of multi-country disruptions. We find talent gaps in supply chain. We need better workforce. Otherwise, a lot of human interventions and low productivity work is going on. Most significant impact is, supply chains and operations have been the expectations for sustainability. Today, ecological impact in the business is very talked about thing. So it may so happen that if you are not very careful about it, your supply chain may get disrupted. Somebody may deny you the supply. So that has become another challenge. Cost is another challenge. Currently we are facing inflation, recessions in America. It's all man-made and induced through COVID. And you suddenly are facing a cost side very high. Price side, you cannot increase. Margins are under pressure. How do you actually ensure profitability? Plus, in today's business, a lot of personalization and customization, what drives the business, gets impacted due to break in supply chain. You don't get your right thing, personalized thing in the supply chain. So how can you serve the customer well? Having said that, the last but not least is your IT system, which is a legacy system, which is very archaic. It's inflexible. It cannot be suited to the current need of supply chain disruptions. It is not that resilient. Having said so, this particular word VUCA comes to my mind. VUCA is a short form of the four big issues in supply chain. One is called volatility, the market volatility, political volatility. So the whole globe has got so much of volatility. And then complexity. When you go and buy things, it is just not that you will just bring up somebody and get the thing. A lot of variables are coming into the picture by the time you get a sustained supply for yourself. Complexity. Ambiguity. You are not very sure about the demand side, with how it is going to go up, go down, what is the predictability. That's not there. With all these three, you have a very uncertain future. So how do you handle your uncertain futures? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. How do you handle that? This is where your leadership measures comes. This is where your ability, your flexibility, your responsiveness to the ups and downs and roller coaster ride in supply chain comes into picture. Hence, you need a digital solution, a real-time critical information availability at your fingertips. Without that, you cannot address this issue at all. Let me talk about a little bit of survey that was done recently about the information visibility in supply chain for major companies across the globe. 11% of them do not have any visibility, online visibility of how their supply chain is working today. 48% have visibility of the first tier 1. The second layer, tier 2, only 21%. And the third one, only 2%. Without having any understanding real time about the entire ecosystem that is affecting your demand side or your supply side, you are not able to go and thrive in this rapid disruptions. So this has to be improved. How do you improve this? So here I'm trying to propose a control tower mechanism, just like ATC in airport. Control tower epitomizes that control is in your hand. You have a dashboard, you have got all alerts, you are able to see the entire supply chain at your fingertip, and you are able to take decision immediately. Typically, a supply chain has got 5 pillars. Starts with customer demand side. The rest are on supply side. It consists suppliers, manufacturing plants, distribution network, and logistics. These 4 pillars is the focus area for today. Now, if we have to have a control tower to control these 4 pillars, this will encompass planning, material supplies, shipments, just-in-time supplies, kit manufacturing, subcontracting, milk run, if it is manufacturing. If it is retail and if it is distribution, then every nodes of inventory and retails and distribution also you need to have the full control on them. So in order to do that, a framework is suggested in the control tower. It's a 4-legged framework. It's called source, collaborate, progress, and measure. Source, collaborate, progress, and measure. A cycle. In the sourcing, we are looking for sustainable source, reliable source, cost-effective, so that you are competitive. And they are strategic. They are not just one of the case. So how do I engage with my source in order to ensure these 4 aspects? So we have to have design document exchange, RFPs, pricing, contracts, purchase orders, whole lot of requirements for sourcing that need to be digitally connected with all your supply side. It doesn't end there. Once you do the sourcing, you have to start getting materials from them and manage inventory at your end. So it can be just-in-time inventory, the quality for first-time okay quality, and your logistic cost has to be optimal. So for that, planning, scheduling, dispatching, invoicing, fund flow management, document management, quality management, logistics management, everything comes into the picture. So you need a platform to interoperate with the entire supply chain network so the transactions are real-time at your fingertips. Then comes progress. once you receive your materials, either you use it in your plant for the processing, or you store it in your warehouse to package and fulfill the demand side. No matter whatever you do, all these operations, you need to have a control on them and have an eye for that, because you need to be very responsive and you don't want any vestiges happening there. So that also needs to be digitized, and it has to be part of the control tower. Now, your life doesn't end there. Once you have the data, convert it to measurable performances. So all the partners in this ecosystem, whether they are suppliers, logistic guys, plant guys, distribution guys, you need to know who is creating the wastage, who is becoming the bottleneck, how do I remove the bottleneck, how do I eliminate the waste, how I can be resilient and fast. So you also have very nice analytics tool for you to see that. So that makes the wholesomeness of the control tower. But it is easier said than done. Okay. And beyond that, hello? Okay. Beyond that also comes your sustainability of supply chain. What happens in sustainability and supply chain is that today you just don't buy, manufacture, and sell. You also are responsible for ecological systems of the earth. So many countries are now demanding a lot of ecological, excuse me, sorry. Lot of ecological, is it visible now? Yeah. So a lot of ecological requirements. So your digital needs are now expanding across to get further data about ecology in your business. So that means you have to have a world-class proactive procurement function. A function which not only generates profit, but it has a purpose to be relevant. So it's a strategic initiative. And in order to achieve that, you have to make your procurement function a key enabler for the growth. Make it very trusted organization. But it doesn't happen overnight. You have to equip it with skills, talent, and tools. And now and also re-engineer your process. If you can do that, you can actually aim for 30% higher margins and 22% lower costs. And you can have continuous innovations. You can have fast and effective decision-making ability. You can have very good experience with your stakeholders, both digitally and physically. And you can continuously add value to your supply chain and integrated supply chain. How do you do that? You do that by building capabilities. So first is make procurement function as a strategic partner for the company, and view it as trusted strategic function. Equip that with tools and people. Your employee cost may go up, but your talent will pay for itself, and they are empowered to take decisions. And how do they do that? They have a very good digital platform, very agile digital platform with analytics engine, which is interoperable to the entire ecosystem. And they are able to use it to take decisions and drive actions. With this, I end my keynote. Thank you very much. I hand over to Atik, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv, sir, for that wonderful and detailed keynote presentation. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. And you actually touched upon various aspects, which is impacting the global economy, the inflationary pressures. But the key message and takeaway is explicitly clear. I think innovation is enormously important. It's the only insurance against irrelevance. It's the only guarantee for customer loyalty, and of course, is the only strategy for a decimal economy. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. I will quickly introduce my next speaker for today, Mr. Pradeep Kumar, who is primarily directly involved with SAP, having significant experience in SAP over 17 years precisely. His specialty actually includes a range of technologies and disciplines. His focus is self-service procurement, service procurement, contract management, extensive experience in strategic sourcing, and of course, he has traveled across the globe for various implementations across geographies. Yeah, Mr. Pradeep, over to you now, and we look forward to your insightful presentation.
Thanks, Atik, and thanks for the wonderful introduction. I would take Gandhali's help for having my presentation. So Gandhali, if you can just open it in the PDF viewer, that would be great. Would you be changing it to PDF viewer, or shall I continue in the browser itself?
Please continue.
Okay. So basically, hello everyone, and thanks for sparing out time to listening to us on various solutions. So as the team was explaining that I'm part of SAP India, and it's been a long journey while I'm in SAP India. It's my pleasure to basically talk about the SAP Ariba procurement solutions, which we have a dedicated department in SAP. We call it as ISM, which is called intelligent spend management and supplier collaboration. So everything which you do with suppliers, whether it is contracting, sourcing, and their evaluation like RFQ, etc., and what you do at the downstream side. Although downstream is later, is a terminology which we don't use now for post PO or post contract collaboration with the suppliers. But yes, that's part of the supplier collaboration. So anything, the tragedy of the systems we currently have today, and I'm sure that many of the people from audience would have touched the SAP system either as an end user or as a customer or as a vendor probably. And it's good that that's the presence SAP systems have right now in the market, whether it's being used as a buyer or supplier or the dealer, retailer, whatever. So the systems are being used across the globe multiple ways. We have seen that whenever it comes to the internal collaboration within your employees or within the working processes within your system, it is that your ERP system gets access. The people used to access that one. But when it comes to the external parties, like your external supplier partners, then we feel that they usually do not have a system, or maybe we do not give them the ERP system access. And there comes the need of the procurement solutions which are in the portfolio of SAP Ariba. The slide currently is general disclaimer. Probably Gandhari, if you can move on to the next slide. I would like to walk on some of the facts and figures about the presence. This is quite heavy slide, and I usually use it because this gives an overall high-level overview of what is it, why SAP Ariba, why do you need this, what's its presence, and which all industries have been using it. So if we look at the left-hand side, the upper corner, there are a lot of statistics, and I would just start with the 32, which is written there. It means 32% of the global procurement, which means 1/3 of the global procurement, irrespective of the industries, irrespective of the companies, irrespective of the size of the companies, that 1/3 procurement globally is done on SAP Ariba platform, which is a very larger number. And rest 66% is given to the other companies, like other softwares. So that's the market reach which SAP Ariba currently has. Ariba was earlier a standalone company, which was totally acquired by SAP, and it was totally transformed. And now it's part of SAP Ariba Solutions, SAP Solutions portfolio, which are integrated with SAP ERP system. It's been in the market for now 25 years, which means the solution is absolutely mature, and it caters almost each and every need of the business process which falls in the procurement or supplier collaboration business function. If you sum total the total commerce which happens on eBay, Alibaba, and Amazon, and you double that size, that's the size of commerce which happens on SAP Ariba platform. That's the $3.8 trillion annually. That's the number of transactions, the amount, the amplitude which SAP Ariba handles. It's equal to the Germany's total GDP if you compare it, and that's a huge number. We have almost 4,000 customers, sorry, and 8 million suppliers. So have a very big, large supplier pool. SAP Ariba is a cloud infrastructure. SAP takes utmost care and invests a lot of efforts into managing customers' data, buyers' data, suppliers' data, and therefore the solution which is presented, which is integrated with SAP's core ERP system, whether it is SAP ECC or S4 HANA. So SAP takes care of all the metrics like transparency, privacy, and other certifications which are needed for the privacy of the customer's data. Looking at the right hand side, if you look at top of this slide, I think there's no industry which is left out. Probably education industry is the one which is not mentioned here. Otherwise, we have presence in the chemical customers, infrastructure, rail infra, road infra, pharma, banking, manufacturing, automotive, huge presence. We have in fact dedicated solutions for automotives, which comes into manufacturing as well. Steel and cement industry, metals and mining, consumer goods, consumer products, FMCGs, utilities and textiles. So you can see that these solutions have been adopted well across the industries, and there is a reason. Because the supplier pool, which I just mentioned, which is part of SAP Business Network now, close to 8 million suppliers, which includes suppliers, trading partners, freight partners, asset intelligence network partners. With having said that, that particular amplitude of the numbers or the people or the businesses which are participating in this, that constitutes its trust in the market and its presence in the market. On the right hand side bottom, there are certain logos which we have picked up who have been our customers in India. They have been using the SAP Ariba solutions, and they are cross industries. You will see a lot of chemical industries, IT industries, food industries, and all whatever you can think of. Like, we have, I think, presence in every industry right now. There is a reason to it that SAP Ariba solutions, and I have a slide like what all solutions we're talking about here, that they have been aptly fitting in the requirements. Next slide, please, Gandhali. These are some of the global customers. If you look at like the global presence, and if you look at the left hand side, I have categorized them in the metal and mining, professional services, life sciences, retail and CPG, manufacturing, and some of them are the really big companies. And on the first slide, which I showed you, the companies in the mid-market or probably the Indian mid-market segment, it has been nicely adopted so far. Let's go ahead. Some of the numbers which I would like to iterate here, that it is supported in almost 190 countries, which covers entire globe, total of 26 million users, 670,000 suppliers joined in 2018, which is a very large number before the COVID period. And if you look at like catalog procurement, which has been a very, very key player when we say that we have to stop the maverick spend. So we have almost 200,000 catalogs present on that. Yeah. 70% of the top Fortune 50 companies are using SAP Ariba solutions. They have adopted it well. The suppliers are there. And, they find that whenever we onboard a new customer, almost 20 to 30% of their suppliers are already on our network, and they have been, trading with our other customers, which makes it easier for any new customers to adopt this solution, because the supplier training and supplier onboarding is a lengthy and hectic task. But whenever we take the supplier list from any new customer and we do some kind of exercise at the back end, and we see that some of their suppliers are already on our network, the percentage comes around, somewhere between 15 to 45%, which is a great number. Let me now take you through the solution portfolio. The next one, Gandhali, I'll come to this. I think it's a wrong sequence. The next one. After this, please. Yeah. Here on this slide, if you look at, as I mentioned earlier, that SAP Intelligent Spend Management portfolio covers all the processes all the way from source to invoice or source to pay, or maybe source to remittance, I would say. We have divided these business processes into their strategic areas. Like source to contract, we have 5 major solutions called spend analysis, supplier risk, and the names are self-explanatory actually. And I'll just touch base 1 or 2 of them in detail. Like sourcing is the RFQ automation process. Contract management, supplier onboarding, supplier lifecycle and performance management system. These are some of the integrated systems which comes under the source to contract portfolio. We have dedicated individual modules for planning and forecasting. When it comes to buying and receiving, the post PO or post contract collaboration, the DSN or the commerce automation solution is one of the favorite in the market, because it handles entire post PO collaboration digitally, all the way when you send a purchase order to a supplier or a dealer or a retailer or your supplier partner. Whatever he has to do, like shipping you the goods or maybe servicing and a service entry sheet. So all those processes get automatically digitally integrated with the core ERP system. And the beauty is that some of the solutions here mentioned have also the capabilities to even integrate with non-SAP backend systems, which makes it very flexible for the other set of combination, like if the backend is non-SAP. But the best value of this system gets harnessed when the backend system is also SAP. If you look at the top line, which says SAP Business Network, we have one single uniform SAP Business Network which covers all these portfolios. So in all these solutions, whatever actions or the responses are expected from the supplier side, for example, it's an RFQ response which falls in the sourcing category. So then the supplier will be accessing the supplier business portal, and if it is contract signing and contract management with the supplier, then again he means supplier will be logging into SAP Business Network and would be signing the contract. Okay, DSN, Digital Supplier Network, again the post PO activities, confirming the order, sending the ASN, submitting the service entry sheet, or submitting an invoice. Nowadays in Indian context, SAP Business Network has also the connectivity with the IRP, which is a real-time live reporting of the invoice as per the GST regime. So it's very, very good tool wherein the suppliers, especially the MSME bracket suppliers, got the GST utility along with Business Network without any additional cost. So they can create an e-invoice, and the benefit which the buyer will get out of it is kind of a clean input tax credit visibility. Yeah. So these are some of the solutions mentioned here, and my team from AmDhan would be now explaining you, I think, sourcing and commerce automation or DSN solution in much detail. Gandhali, can you go back to the previous slide for a minute? Yes, these are some of the factors. Okay, I would like to reiterate that vendor discovery and development is utmost priority nowadays. I mean, supply chain, as Rajiv was mentioning, that supply chain disruption is one of the key area where we always intend to find out new vendors from authentic database. Negotiating online and negotiating better with your existing legacy suppliers is also very critical, because we have seen instances that we are happy with the supplier, we are happy with their supplier performance, we are happy with their delivery performance, but they are not breaking the prices. So SAP Ariba sourcing solution has helped with its patented techniques of negotiations. It has helped the buyers to negotiate much better and break the prices and increase their savings window. While the process is completely paperless, so definitely process automation and the end-to-end ease of adoption is another criteria based on which these solutions are in line with. When it comes to sustainability, the e-invoicing and tax compliance transactions, or maybe paperless collaboration for sourcing, for contract management, and also for the PO, is another aspect that this is getting a very, very good response, especially from the Asia Pacific mid-market or Asia Pacific customers. Especially in India, it has been adopted very well. Last 15-16 months, we have seen that customers have started using it approximately to maximum of their transactions, whether it is on the sourcing front or it is from the PO perspective. Let's go next. The last one. Yeah. These are the two solutions which Atik and team and the team would be showing you systems in detail. SAP Ariba Sourcing and SAP Ariba Digital Supplier Network. This flowchart is very, very self-explanatory that how integrated it is with the core SAP system. And I will now hand over to my AmDhan colleague to walk you through these two solutions in detail and show you how SAP Sourcing can give you the automation plus additional savings while you negotiate with your suppliers, whether it is a legacy supplier or getting new suppliers from our SAP Ariba Discovery platform, and how you can generate and operate at a maximum at a maximum efficiency using our SAP Digital Supplier Network, which is a supplier portal which has in the green box, if you see, it has a native integration with the IRP portal as well. Yeah, so this flowchart is handy, and we will definitely share this with you. You can let us know that how it is fitting in your requirements. So I'm now handing over to my colleague for further details on these two solutions.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you for giving the insights of Ariba solutions. Now I'll be sharing the screen and walking you through the architecture and different aspects of Ariba sourcing and digital supplier network. So, is my screen visible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yeah, you are audible and your screen is visible.
Yeah, okay. So now we'll be deep diving into Ariba sourcing and digital supplier network. So agenda will be introduction, which you have already covered most of that. Then we'll be going through pain points which the organization or industries are facing in collaboration between supply chain and suppliers. Then we'll be going through high-level architecture of Ariba sourcing. Then similarly, we'll be going on the DSN side, where we'll be seeing the collaboration of supply chain with suppliers via DSN and the benefits derived from there. Then we'll be seeing high-level architecture of DSN as well. So let's start with this. So now I will be the person speaking, and after that followed by Ashok Bidari, who will be giving us the demonstration over the process. Yeah. So here we have certain current pain points which industries are facing while collaborating with the between supply chain and the suppliers. So the results are, if they collaborate between supply chain and suppliers via paper, email, or over cell phones or calls, so the results here would be error prone and slow process in terms of turnaround time, then poor data quality, then high cost involved in paper processing and all those things. So moving on to the architecture, system architecture of Ariba sourcing, or between the end users and Ariba sourcing and DSN network. So there Ariba provides the provision of integration. Ariba provides standalone process, or you can say that it's an integrated system as well. So once we will go through both of them in one by one. So first let's walk through Ariba standalone process. So where this is nothing but it's a client network, and business, if he wants to connect, he or she wants to connect with Ariba via standalone process. In that case, what happens? Business can connect via Ariba sourcing suite, wherein business can directly create standalone sourcing request and sourcing project, followed by the sourcing event, wherein the sourcing events are of multiple types: RFI, RFP, and auction, and that can be sent to the supplier via Ariba network, and supplier can respond over the sourcing event, which is called as bid in Ariba language, and bids are then submitted to Ariba network, followed by it comes to Ariba sourcing suite, wherein awarding is done to the supplier. Then other way of connecting is through integration, wherein business can connect their legacy system or ERP system, which can be SAP ERP or maybe non-SAP ERP. Ariba provides provision of integrating the Ariba. SAP provides the provision of integrating Ariba with SAP products or maybe non-SAP products as well. So here we are taking it as ECC or S4 HANA, which is the legacy system, and that connects through a middleware which is called as Ariba CIG, and through Ariba CIG it goes through Ariba sourcing, and in Ariba sourcing Ariba sourcing request and sourcing project can be created again, followed by the sourcing event, which goes through Ariba network, and it goes to the suppliers or vendors, wherein supplier vendors submit their responses or bids, and it comes back to Ariba sourcing. And from sourcing, it again goes back to their legacy system via CIG, which is the middleware. And in CIG, what happens? An automatic PO is created, and that's the document which is created. Now moving on to the next slide. To achieve effortless and hassle-free sourcing, the proven solution by SAP is Ariba DSN, SAP DSN. DSN is nothing but it's a digital supplier network. And the results driven from here are accuracy in terms of data and all those things. And there's a fast process in terms of turnaround time. A lot of turnaround time is saved here. The data quality is rich there. And cost is also lowered down, cutting down the paper processing and other processes just because of the use of this portal. So yeah, now we can deep dive into DSN architecture, which is, it starts from, so this is a process in detail. I'll describe it in brief. So how DSN works: once a purchase order is sent to the supplier, supplier can create an order confirmation, which is called as an OC, over that purchase order, followed by the ASN, which is Ariba ship notice. Ariba ship notice is nothing but it's a document which says that the details of the shipment and other details. After that, supplier can create an invoice, and supplier can send the goods or ship the goods to the buyers or the inventory of the buying organization. So, and the advantage here would be complete transparency from top to down and bottom to top. That's the added advantage here. And like Pradeep has already described about IRP portal, so it is in collaboration with IR portal of the government, wherein IR number and QR code is generated, which generally avoids duplicacy of the documents and other benefits adhering to the government norms. And now here are some of the benefits that are derived by using Ariba DSN, which is like supply chain visibility, process efficiency, e-invoicing and payment support, scale up the business. So in supply chain visibility, there will be like order visibility and material tracking. In process efficiency, there will be like all the documents are automated, invoice, order confirmation, ASN. And what happens? Fewer exceptions to error, like lesser error prone documents, and payment inquiries from the supplier will be lesser, which can be viewed directly on the portal. Now e-invoicing, so like I have already discussed that it is in it is according to the government guidelines by IR, by the use because it is collaborating with IRP portal. So there is an accuracy of invoice, and duplicate payments are also fewer down, and payment status can be tracked at any point of time. Scale your business is, it's like automating procure to pay system, wherein a globalization of business is also achieved. Yeah. Now let's move to the demo part. Now handing over to Ashok sir, who can drive us through the demo.
Okay, thank you, Kapil. So let me share my screen, and please confirm once you see my screen. Okay.
I can see your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now, thank you everyone for attending today's session. So all this while you heard about the keynote from Rajiv sir about how supply chain disruption happens and what all the consequences that has been faced. And then Pradeep talked about all the Ariba solutions, and Kapil explained about sourcing and DSN. Now let's go into the system and then see how the system actually is. And then is it really efficient system to do a supply chain collaboration or collaboration with your suppliers, and how the sourcing process takes place, and how easy it is for customers to go through the sourcing and DSN solutions, right? let's start with a DSN, right? So DSN is more from an order collaboration, right? For your direct order collaboration with S4 and Ariba network, or when a supplier registered in the Ariba network, how PO goes to the network and then how they can access it and then create the order confirmation, DSN and invoice and remittance advice can be seen and other things, right? So the part of S4 is not going to change anything. Your system will remain as is, right? So you are going to do the processes as is, creating the purchase orders and other things, right? So I have already created a purchase order here, which I'll just show, and then we'll get into the network and then see what are the things that we are supposed to do in the network, right? When you create a purchase order, make sure that a couple of things are checked over here, and so that suppliers can do the confirmation, right? First thing is goods receipt based invoice verification is checked as yes, and also there is the checkbox for confirmations, right? So which need to be checked, acknowledged, required, which means anything that supplier acknowledges and submits over the network will be received by the buyers. We will see the effect of checking this box by the buyer when you are creating the purchase orders. So let's get into the network and see how the network looks like. So this is Ariba network. When a user logs in, when a supplier logs into the network, Ariba network, SAP Ariba Business Network, what we call it as, right? So this network is a one page where the supplier users can see Ariba Discovery, which I think Pradeep mentioned, wherein we have 8.8 million suppliers, right? So with wherein they can find any supplier for the categories which they want to source, right? As mentioned earlier, when you are doing a sourcing activity, you can go to the discovery, find the suppliers and add it to your sourcing event on the fly, right? If their supplier is not existing in your supplier database. You can also reply to supplier sourcing events or provide the supplier related questionnaires when you're registering the suppliers, when a buyer registers the suppliers over there into their system, right? And then do a contract negotiation over the SAP Business Network. And from a transactional perspective, we have SAP Business Network, which is mainly used for your order collaboration or invoice and invoice creation purposes, or even from a supply chain collaboration perspective, like forecast collaboration or inventory managed supplier managed inventory collaboration or quality collaboration. You can do all these activities based on the entitlements that you have in the SAP Business Network. So, but for today, we'll just look for order collaboration, which is a direct order collaboration, right? When a supplier logs in, this is the dashboard, which is completely customizable, have many widgets, and then you can see status of different orders, invoices, remittance, and things like that. So even the system is compatible with from a mobile application perspective. So this has both mobile application is supported both for buyers and suppliers, right? So you can, buyers and suppliers can view their orders, the suppliers can do an order confirmation, shipping notices, can view their invoices, can view their remittances at any place at any point of time. So this system gives a flexibility to have the transparency or speed of acting at any point of time. Now, so we have created an order in buyer has created an order in S4, and now let's check that order has come through in supplier in the supplier network. So this is the purchase order that we have created in S4 HANA, right? Even if it is from an ECC perspective, orders can be created and then can be integrated with S4 HANA, even if it's an ECC, right? So this is the purchase order that has been created, and when a supplier logs in, this is the purchase order view that they see, right? So you have all the header information, payment information, shipping information, all the line item details as well, right? So once the order has come through, they can do an order confirmation. Order confirmation basically to confirm that, okay, I'm going to fulfill this order as an entire order or partial order, or even they can reject the order as well, right? So when they once they do the order confirmation, notification will be sent, or an order confirmation document will be sent to the buyer account. We'll go and see in the S4 HANA as well. So you do an order confirmation and then do a create ship notice, right? So once you create a shipping notice, it's basically saying that you're going to ship goods on this time, on this date, using this carrier, and also provide all the shipping information, probably batch data or production date, or how many quantities you are going to ship and things like that, right? So you do the shipping notice, and that document will also be sent across to the buyer. So once you go to the buyer, as you see, both the documents have come over here. So this will help. Earlier, without this this collaboration, order confirmation, ship notices were seen only, or either confirmed through fax, phone, or things like that, which were very hard to manage, right? So this becomes easy and transparent, the supplier collaboration, right? After this, once the order has been created, shipping notice has come, you can do a goods receipt. From an India perspective, they can create directly invoice, and based on the invoice, goods receipt can be created in S4 HANA. For this demo, what we are doing is we have created the goods receipt already, and based on we have created the invoice as well here. So as I mentioned, all the documents can be seen by the supplier, whether it's order confirmation, shipping notice, goods receipt which has been posted by the buyer, and then they can go ahead and create the invoice on their own in the system. And then they also attach the hard copy, which is nothing but the hard copy which is required from the Indian invoice context, right? So they can do all those activities, and based on which the orders. So in this way, the supply collaboration from buyers to suppliers is much more easier, right? It is from and even once the invoice is created, buyer can go ahead and do a remittance advice or create an remittance, right? So that also can be viewed by the suppliers. So if they go into the remittance, they can see when the invoice can be paid. So we are making the process easier for both buyers and supplier with the help of SAP Business Network, wherein both buyers and suppliers can collaborate over different documents, as I mentioned initially. So that's the advantage of having an SAP Digital Supplier Network for suppliers and buyers to make the collaboration effective and transparent, right? So that's about SAP Business Network. As I mentioned, this is also can be extended to commerce automation, which supports much more documents, and from a supply chain collaboration, which supports scheduling agreements, forecast collaboration, inventory collaboration, quality collaboration, etc. on SAP Business Network. Right. Now, let's move on to the guided sourcing. Right. So we also talked about sourcing. Sourcing is mainly used for creating the events, and then how the system is going to be helpful for buyers and suppliers to go ahead and do the sourcing activity over the supplier network is what I'm trying to show here. So now there are many personas in an organization who will be working on a procurement team, right? So let's take a procurement team who wants to create a sourcing project, or who wants to initiate a sourcing and create an event and then source a particular category from a supplier, and they want to do it in digital format. So I'm logging in as one of the user, and then he has created already as purchase requisition, and from that he wants to create a say a sourcing event, right? So we can go ahead and create the sourcing project. Now what we call now in Ariba is for a sourcing module is called as guided sourcing. So from a terminology only, it says that at every step, the user will be guided on each and every activity that they can do, right? So this is how, and it is AI driven, where system learns as and when the user creates the projects, system learns and then helps and recommends every time the user comes back and create the sourcing event, right? So whether it's from adding the content or selecting the template and things like that. Now, from a sourcing perspective, there are two options: one, single event, and full project, right? Full project is basically when a lot of companies will have multiple teams involved when creating the sourcing event. If it's a big event, they will have multiple teams, multiple tasks that need to be followed throughout the project. So Ariba gave an option of creating the full project and include teams, tasks, and things like that, right? Single event where you know the source, you know the category. We just need a quotation from the supplier, then you use a simple event and then complete it quickly, right? So for today's purpose, we'll just select a full sourcing project and then show how things look like. Right, and then all the sourcing project is from a configuration perspective, from a user perspective, is much more easier. Whole sourcing project is template driven, where you can create a number of templates based on your category, based on your region, based on your market unit. So you can create a number of templates which can be used again and again, which will save the time not to create from the scratch, or doing a manual process every time you create a sourcing event, right? So this saves you an entire time by templatizing the sourcing event and reusing them again and again effectively, right? So let's go ahead and create the sourcing project. And as you see, once you create the project, you see all the task has been listed out. Because it's a full project, all the task has been listed out here, right? So let's create an RFP. For this project, we'll create one quick RFP event, and then invite some of the suppliers for this particular event, right? Now, I have created an RFP event, and then let's invite some of the suppliers before we start doing the event, right? So for this demo purpose, I'm inviting 3 suppliers and adding them to my event, right? Similarly, so these are the 3 suppliers which will have a contact name, and the one item is added from a content perspective, where we are adding only one line item for suppliers to go ahead and bid, right? Even as you see, I was mentioning, it's an AI-driven tool. So add content from the recommendation. Basically, system has learned and then helping the user to take this recommendation from the system and add the content which might be suitable for this category, or which might be suitable for this region, and things like that, according to which system has added the content, right? Complete the task and then publish the event. So once you publish the event, you can monitor the entire event. So it shows how many suppliers are participating, what is the event duration, how many items we are created for this particular event, right? So what we'll do is we'll just log in as one of the supplier and then respond, right? So this is the supplier business. This is the SAP Business Network, wherein suppliers logs in and then responds to the event. So let's say one line item we have, and then we are going to add all the details or provide the information that buyer has asked for and submit our response. Once you submit, the responses will be seen by the buyer. So let's log in again as a buyer and then see if the responses has been received. As you see, all the responses has been received by the buyer. Similarly, we'll do it for other suppliers will log in, and then they also provide the information. As you see, system itself will rank the lowest bid and then say that, okay, this particular supplier has quoted less, provided the all the information that is required, and in this way you can parallelly compare the responses of the suppliers, right? So this is one of the best feature that SAP Ariba has, wherein you can compare the responses parallelly, which will make you easier to compare and help to decide which suppliers to be chosen, right? Similarly, once you do that, you can reduce the event, or also can check. The system gives an overview about the bid comparison, right? So, and then it gives which supplier has been quoted well and responses has been received. Similarly, what you can do is before awarding, you can split as per, if you want to split the award, you can split it, and then system provides based on percentage or quality as well, quantity, right? And even from a content perspective, like if you are getting some more information from your suppliers, just not on line items, but also some of the content, you can get those information as well. Now, you can score the responses of the suppliers, right? So these are the grading that has been done by the system, and also as an user, you can grade the responses of the suppliers. So in that way, it will help you to grade based on the the supplier responses. So it will also help you to decide how to award, right, or which suppliers to be awarded. So let's go back here and complete the task. Now you can view the scorecard, right? So what is the score of all the responses that have been sent by the received by the suppliers, right? So once you do that, you can go ahead and award one of the supplier in the system, right? So let me say I'm going to award this supplier and confirm your awarding, right? So system also provides the ability to award based on the scenarios that you select. Scenarios basically whether it's a best bid, based on the savings, based on the responses received, based on other criteria. You want to create your own scenario, system allows that, and based on that you can award your supplier. So that's about guided sourcing. So in a nutshell, this helps to increase your RFP cycle, reduce the cost, and make the entire process digitized, right? So these are the two solutions that I wanted to show from sourcing as digital supplier network for this particular session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashok. Thank you so much for that very detailed, comprehensive insight and excellent system demonstration. I would also now like to take the opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their insight, expertise, knowledge, and wisdom on how Ariba can truly be a game changer and help companies buy smarter, sell faster, and manage cash in a digital economy. What I'm going to do next is I'm quickly going to set up a plate where we are actually doing a poll, and I would request all of you to key in your valuable responses to each of the questions that will be appearing on your screen. I believe this should not take less than a minute. So we'll be launching the poll right away. You may start entering the answers for each of the questions that appear on your mobile phone or desktop. Thank you. I'll be sharing the results as I can see it on the screen. I think still people are giving in their responses. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, some of them are still doing it. All right, so here are the results. I would just like to share it with all the attendees. So basically the question was, which of the following processes in your organization is the biggest challenge? And we have got a mixed responses, but the majority of the participants and attendees who have voted, they say invoice receiving and processing. That's got an overall statistics and a percentage of 67. Second comes tracking shipments and matching them with purchase order. That have got a statistics figure of 33%, and I think the rest of them stand 0. So we have only 2 critical insights: invoice receiving and processing and tracking the shipments. Yep, that's about the poll results now. So what I'll do is, I think I'm the next speaker, and I will take you through the AmDhan capabilities. I'll quickly share my screen. Just let me know once you're able to view my screen. Is my screen visible to everyone?
No, I think.
Okay,
stop sharing. There's the poll.
Yeah, I think now we can see your screen.
We can see.
All right. Okay. So welcome to AmDhan, everyone. Sorry, I'm in the spotlight, so you have no.
I think you start presentation mode, please.
I'm sorry, Rajiv sir, you said something?
Start in the presentation mode.
Is it okay now?
Yes. No, not yet. You have the presentation mode? No.
I
Okay.
think this is the one. Yeah. All right, so let me get started. Welcome to AmDhan, everyone. So you have no option, unfortunately, but to let yourself be unapologetically seen when you are the moderator and host. So just to give you a brief insight about AmDhan, AmDhan was established in 2011. As you can see, we are currently headquartered in UK, but we actually operate in multiple continents, including Asia, Europe, northern countries, as well as in the US. So all of this, of course, complemented by a center of excellence in India, which is Pune. And our goal is to kind of expand our remit and, to bring our services to more countries and industries across the globe. As a consulting partner, we are actually supporting more than 15,000 business users globally. And we operate a very strong certified technology workforce, both in SAP and non-SAP. As a policy of AmDhan, we actually focus a lot on, engineering the right gene pool of a company. We have a wide confluence of talent, who bring in significant expertise and experience in consulting, in implementation, and new innovations, and also product development. So we basically work as a cohesive unit and, drive, significant transformation deliverables for our clients. So we also have solution architect team who are primarily operating from UK, but we have a blend of holistic talent who are also operating from India. We have certified consultants for various, wide spectrum of modules, SAP SD, MM, FICO, ABAP. So you name it, we have the consultant. So as a policy, as I said, we have a team of pragmatic consultants, certified consultants, and solution architects who are basically well known for their expertise, reliability, and we kind of have a sleeves rolled up approach and ears to the ground approach. So that's what we follow. And we also look for employees who can, actively flex their creative muscles. So that was about the blend of talent that we have in AmDhan. As an SAP partner, we actually believe in, bringing unrivaled capabilities when it comes to technology, which are basically augmented by an ecosystem of best practices. So we have proven expertise across a range of industries, utility, especially in the UK. We have executed diversified and distinguished projects with some really reputed industries in the UK. We have significant expertise in manufacturing in India, automotive, aerospace, pharma. Dr. Reddy is a very prestigious client of ours where we have done a full-scale 360-degree implementation of SAP Ariba. As an SAP partner, that gives us a competitive advantage, to build new products and innovations and get it approved by SAP. And we also have our, products available on Google platform. So that's about the first part, that is the AmDhan overview. This slide is basically a paradigm and a service model that is broadly, classified under 4 broad categories. We are into implementation and consulting. We do cloud computing. We are also into product services, and we are also into business analytics. So I'll touch base with each of these topics. When it comes to implementation and consulting, AmDhan actually, specialize and have core distinguished capability in both Ariba implementation and sustenance. As I said, we have executed various plethora of projects both in the UK and in India when it comes to SAP Ariba. In implementation, basically, we help numerous companies, who have that progressive and forward-looking ambitions, who want to upgrade their existing landscape SAP and move on to new satellite-based technologies like SAP S4 HANA or SAP Ariba. So we do implementation, full-scale implementation as well. And we also assist companies, and we are also extensively engaged with companies who are currently on ECC and who have that envisions, would like to transcend and transform your IT landscape and move and migrate to SAP S4 HANA, whether it's a greenfield, bluefield, or brownfield approaches. So we have significant capability there. We can help companies to, to design and develop that long-term, strategy based on your landscape. We study your landscape. We study the veracity of your data, and we arrive at a, decisive conclusion, which should be the best fit and which should be the best investment according to your risk appetite. So we also have significant capability in both consulting and implementation. In consulting, we basically do AMS support for a lot of players in India as well as abroad. Cloud computing, before I actually speak about cloud computing, since the webinar is exclusively focused on SAP Ariba, I think I should also give a deep dive on what we actually do in SAP Ariba. What we have done so far, we have assisted companies in implementing, both upstream and downstream SAP Ariba modules. Basically, in upstream, we have covered Ariba Sourcing, I think, which my colleagues have already explained. It's a cloud-based software, which is intuitive, web-based RFX management tool. It basically empowers companies to, create your sourcing events right from the fingertips of your mobile phone or your desktop. Implementation of contract management, which is essentially, an end-to-end solution, which is basically designed to eliminate all your paperwork and which help companies, comply with contract management, contractual obligations, and regulatory compliances. So we also do, in upstream, we do Ariba Sourcing, contract management, and finally, we also do SAP Ariba Lifecycle Performance Management, which is essentially a comprehensive tool, which covers a broad spectrum of activities. It basically helps you to, do the reduce your onboarding and qualification cycle time, and which will eventually help you to scale your performance for your entire enterprise. Finally, when it comes to downstream, we have this module called Procure to Pay, which is again a cloud-based innovative solution, which kind of gives you that the flexibility to have suppliers and buyers can connect on a single platform, and you have the best-in-class features where you can completely automate your purchasing life cycle just under one single place, to search for indirect goods and services. So that's the kind of expertise we bring in when it comes to SAP Ariba. Now, moving on to cloud technology, as we know, cloud is all about maximizing innovation and growth. And what we are actually seeing post-COVID-19 pandemic is that a majority of the companies would like to transform their IT landscape. What COVID has essentially done is it's been unfairly kind to technology industry. In a way, most of the companies are now trying to examine how intellectually they can examine their processes and move to cloud-based technology. So cloud is a huge transformation and enabler, which is driving transformation through the economy. Not just in terms of cost advantages or balance sheet advantages, but I think it goes much beyond that. It gives you the flexibility and momentum. It gives you world-class, flexibility and product-based operating model services as well. So that's all about cloud. In AmDhan, the practice is we don't just do cloud enabling and cloud services. We go much more beyond that. We have helped various entities. I think time does not permit me to explain it in entirety, but we have helped various, companies, enable digital transformation, leveraging the full capabilities of, artificial intelligence. We also do hyper-personalization based on your needs. So this depends on the enterprise, on how flexible they are in using all IoT-based technologies. So we have proven significant expertise there. We can help you get rid of all your, complex, archaic, heavy, manual, mundane activities, by leveraging full-scale capabilities of artificial intelligence. We have a separate RPA team, which is exclusively focused on, completely automating the routine work that happens. So that's all about cloud technology. In product services, basically as an SAP partner, that gives us a huge flexibility and momentum in the market to build new products. So every act of ours in the product services is basically enabling better services and how we can improve our services. So we have created a whole blend of products, I would say, right from their extremely strong in creating products like customer portal, a vendor portal, which is again a completely 360-degree procurement and supply chain offering, which is being adopted by a lot of automobile companies and pharmaceutical companies in India, as well as abroad. So we also have launched our own ERP product, which is very competitive, very cost effective, because we do understand that SAP is a little exorbitant product for companies, and most companies cannot, invest that much of, leverage their pockets to invest SAP. So we have designed different products based on small scale industries, medium scale industries. So we have designed our own ERP system, which is pretty much works on the characteristics of SAP. So that's all about product services. I'd like to keep it short. I think we all are exasperated. So at the final is business analytics. In business analytics, AmDhan again brings in significant capability here. We can help you, break through the clutter, be innovative, and build multifarious dashboard according to your services in each area of vertical, maybe sales, procurement, whether it is sales, maintenance, and repair. So we bring in significant capability. We exploit the full leverage of Microsoft BI technology, and we can help you build and engineer that plug and play functionalities for enterprises, where you can see what transpired throughout the day on just a click of a button. You can see what happened throughout the day. So that's about our services. Finally, why AmDhan? I think I've already explained. We have certified consultants. We bring an all-round capability of strong experience in both implementation, consulting, new developments and innovations. And obviously, being an SAP partner, we follow all the standard best SAP practices. That's what's about AmDhan. So whether your goals are scaling and leveraging the capabilities of AI, or whether you want to redesign your operation models, or you want to drive better efficiencies by implementing satellite-based technologies like SAP Ariba, SAP S4 HANA, and various other technologies, AmDhan can partner with you to help you gain that competitive advantage and move in a sustainable and efficient direction. So that was about AmDhan capabilities. I sincerely thank you for your time, your interest, your patience, your perseverance. And finally, I would also like to say that, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, all right, sir. All right. I thought there was my system got hanged a bit. So yeah, so I hope this year will be, you all will be seeing significant and accelerated periods of growth for your enterprises, and revolutionizing your own career and taking into new directions. Thank you so much for your time. I would now like to welcome Mr. Rajiv Jena and Mr. Ashok Bidari to give a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Athak. A very nice presentation by everybody. And let me take this opportunity to thank all the attendees. I enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed also the sessions. We'll have plenty of such sessions coming forward in the future as well. It will be very educative, very knowledgeable, and very participative. Thanks for your participation for all the attendees. I would like to thank our partner SAP, but for whom it would not have been so successful. They have been always helping to us whenever we want in short notice as well. So thanks to SAP as a very good partner for us. And thanks to all the people who helped this webinar come successful, Gandhali and the team. And last but not least, I want to thank the management of AmDhan for helping, and inspiring to have such webinars as you come forward. Over to you, Bidari.
No, thank you so much. I think this been a wonderful session by AmDhan. I think probably all your customers, partners who have attended this session will benefit from this session, and look forward for more implementation, more sell of Ariba sourcing and DSN and other solutions from AmDhan. We look forward to help you in all your endeavors and give our complete support to you guys. Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for attending today's session. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Deeply appreciate it. Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.